The Star Wars Ultrabuild line of sets was quite a fascinating wave. Many people love them, but I think a lot of people really hate them. But no matter what your opinions are, I think we can all agree that one of the best is K-2SO. In this video, why don't we discuss why this set is amazing? And then we'll check out some of the highlight pieces that come in this set, and we'll see how you can use them in your own LEGO creations. And then hey, why don't we finish off with some amazing revamps of this amazing set? Let's dive in. I mean, look at this! A tall, imposing figure with a brilliant head design and a pretty cool play feature. Well, I don't know, the play feature is interesting. You can play with it by pulling the lever on the back. It allows K-2SO to punch his enemies. It's pretty good. You can swing the arms individually, or you can press down on this button and he can punch with both hands. Look, it's a good idea in theory, but sometimes the double punch kind of looks a little bit like he's clapping. Or, I don't know, it actually looks like he's hitting his own head. So yeah, look, it's not perfect, but I mean, hey, you can still beat up enemies with this, which is pretty fun. So by that logic, it works, it's good, I like it. Although sometimes the double punch actually kind of looks like he's hugging his enemy. Obviously this wasn't the intention, but I don't know, I kind of love this. A set with real hugging action. Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of adorable. Other great things here are details like the waist construction, and even some of these little silver highlights on the torso. All of this is very accurate to the source material. It's very well done. You do get a small sticker sheet within this set. It's actually not that common to see sticker sheets inside construction sets like this one. And thankfully it's only 2 small stickers, so if you don't want to put them on, you don't have to. But I kind of like the small and subtle detail that it adds. It might not be much, but it does a lot. And I think the same can be said for these antennae on the back. These are so good. What a great idea to use this rapier piece in black. Yeah, this was once a minifigure weapon, but is now being repurposed as an antenna. I mean, that's such a clever part use. Really, really creative thinking right here. Dude, I mean, this set rocks. It's very poseable, the head design is amazing, and visually it just looks awesome. But let's address the elephant in the room. You might be aware that a brand new version of this is coming out pretty soon. It's basically an upgrade to this set. Of course, it's only using system pieces, no old CCBS parts. But, you know, it certainly looks like a nice upgrade, doesn't it? The torso especially is awesome. Some of the angles here that the designer was able to pull off is super accurate and super visually pleasing. But there's been a lot of complaints in the LEGO community about the head on this guy. People are saying that it doesn't look that great and it kind of doesn't really look like the source material. And yeah, I can kind of agree with that criticism. Of anything, it would probably look good if you took the head from the Ultrabuild set and put it on this body. That could be a stunning combination. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do that until August 1st when this set comes out. But if you want, you can pre-order it right now. So look, I do think this upgrade is great. It has its faults, but it looks really good. But I don't know, there's something about the old Ultrabuild version that looks amazing. It's the use of a lot of Technic pieces like on the arms and the body, as well as other constructible action figure pieces. You combine that with some of the Technic panels on the torso, the stickers, the system pieces, all that stuff. It all just looks perfect for a droid. Some of the other Star Wars Ultrabuild figures that use the same CCBS building style, I don't know, they just look a little bit off. And sometimes they look a little bit creepy, especially on the ones that have human heads. There's something about it that just doesn't quite translate into a LEGO medium. And I think it all comes down to the fact that the character and creature building system, a system that's made up of ball and socket pieces that you can heavily customize by adding armor on top, this system was designed for Hero Factory, a theme where you build robots. So an argument can be made that this robotic and armor-styled aesthetic doesn't really translate that well to a human flesh and bone body that's wearing robes and other sort of cloth attire. There are of course exceptions to that. In fact, I think there's a lot of exceptions to that rule. But sometimes, yeah, it just doesn't quite work. But when you get a set like this that can freely lean into a very robotic vibe, when it can afford to look a little bit more thin and mechanical, I think that's when CCBS clicks. That's when it works. To me, this is one of the best uses of the character and creature building system ever. When you mix it in with Technic, when you mix it in with system pieces, you end up with an incredibly realistic representation of that awesome Star Wars character. There's something about droids, man, they just look better in this style. And personally, I think this is better than that upcoming remake, simply because this has incredibly realistic elegance and charm to it. It feels so perfectly Lego, but also so perfectly Star Wars at the same time. And that's a difficult balance to achieve, but they did it. Yeah, this is great. Now sure, I think it is worth upgrading this just that little bit further, and that way it'll be perfect. Like if we could see some of those yellow rings that are on the sides of his torso, like we see in the movie. Putting something like that on might make it just a little bit cooler. But stuff like that is pretty easy to add in. In fact, we're going to see a mock later on in this video that does exactly that, so stay tuned. But really dude, this is an incredible design that marries together pieces from so many different themes and ends up creating something truly beautiful. I love this. Now before we get to those revamps that I teased before, let's quickly check out some of the highlight pieces that come in this set, and then I'll show you how you can use them in your own LEGO creations. Let's get you inspired. Let's begin with these two awesome Technic panel elements. These are used on K-2SO's chest design. Why not repurpose them for some leg armor like we see on this revamp of Core Hunter? This is built by Bob the Bodybuilder. I love the way that these pieces tie into that big invasion from below spike that's on the center of the waist. The way these marry up with each other, it kind of reminds me of samurai armor. And also, there's something about the aesthetic of it that almost looks very Transformer-like. That looks really good. Now hey, while we're talking about that large invasion from below spike piece, you get two of them in this set. So how can those be used? Well, Mathadrone uses multiple of them to make up a very fascinating leg design. They make for pretty good thighs, but they also make for some pretty good lower legs. Lower legs that just kind of trail off and don't have any feet. It's this interesting kind of floating leg design. Hey, I like that. It's a bit funky, it's a little different, but that's what makes it good. Moving on over to K-2SO's head. I mean, this is exceptional. The amount of detail they packed into this, it's unlike anything else. Look at the weathering and the battle damage and the scratches. This is amazing stuff. But I really enjoy how it's been used here on this creation by Shuby4000. When you remove the head from its Star Wars context and put it on a totally different body, their head almost starts to look a little bit more like a skull. Yeah, those eyes start to get way creepier. You realize that the K-2SO head is actually quite terrifying. I kind of thought that because it's such an iconic character from Star Wars that it would just be too obviously K-2SO, and putting it on a random character just wouldn't work. It'd be like putting Darth Vader's head on a different body. You'd be like, well, that's still Darth Vader. But no, it actually works quite well here. That's unexpected, but not unwelcome. Or perhaps you can do what Takamichi Iri has done, and build yourself a little bobblehead version of K-2SO. I mean, this was just begging to happen, right? So adorable, and you could do this with all of the Ultrabuild headpieces. One really awesome piece in this set is this armor element. It actually only appears in black in this set. Always nice to see some exclusive pieces. I really like how Patrick Biggs has used it right here. Just embedding it into the waist design looks quite nice. And actually, the way that it ties into some of the orange and black greebles in the middle of the torso, that's nice. They have a nice similarity to them, don't they? Something else that's very nicely done are the prints on these CCBS shoulder armor pieces. The slightly weathered Imperial logo, that's perfectly done. And hey, why not use it like Max Howell has done on this creation? Again, this is kind of a similar story to K-2SO's head. Putting this piece on a futuristic looking mech, you stop seeing this as an Imperial cog logo, and I don't know, it just kind of looks like some sort of random decal or sticker or pattern. I think it's a really nice touch. But if you're not a fan of that, maybe you could use this piece like this mock does. This is built by Burke Eggs Britama. They're using them as knee pads. That's kind of nice, it works, doesn't it? Another awesome piece, well, it's one I mentioned before. It's that black rapier. Check out how David Hensel has used a bunch of the silver versions of this piece for a nice toothy maw. Hey, if you can get a bunch of these pieces together and do something similar and put it on a Bionicle, that's gonna look pretty good. I also quite like this interesting circular element. You get two of them in black in this set. But I like what Galactus has done here. He's used one of the trans green versions for a visor on his Self-Moc's head design. Now, there's no reason you can't do the exact same thing, but just swap out that trans green piece for the black one. Yo, it might even look a little bit like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe with his black visor on his helmet. That could be pretty cool. And finally, one of the best pieces to come out of the Star Wars Ultrabuild sets is this thigh armor piece. And Alex MOCs continues to use it in the same way that the set does, but instead of placing it on its side, he's flipped it the other way around. He's put it on the front. I mean, dude, this really is the ultimate piece to use for thigh armor. It pretty much always looks good. So hey, if you're out there right now building a MOC and you're struggling on that upper leg design, maybe all you need is this piece. Beautiful! That's some ideas for how you can use all of the best parts that come in this set. But now, why don't we check out a sweet, sweet revamp of K-2SO? Why don't we check out 2 of them? We'll start off with a modest but beautiful one by DeadGlitch71. This creation ups the accuracy a lot more, adding in some yellow circles around the sides of the torso. Hey, that's what we spoke about before. As well as filling in other gaps as well, and just in general rounding this off and making it look more screen accurate. And I think they did a great job. It's lovely how much that little hint of yellow just pops right here. It just looks sensational. And then replacing some of the pre-molded fist elements with some of these hands that have posable fingers. Yeah, gosh, that looks so much better, doesn't it? See, maybe this is how you could add just a few upgrades to the original set, and you could take it to a whole nother level. But if you think that's impressive, oh, wait until you see this. This is by Starbricks, and this is K-Project. I mean, dang, look at this. Seeing it next to 2 of the official UCS sets, BB-8 and R2-D2, you can see just how tall this really is. I mean, this feels like the kind of thing you would see LEGO themselves making and releasing as an official set. The definition and the detail on this is phenomenal. One fantastic inclusion is on the back right here. There's a part that's removable, and inside you can see all of these inner workings. I mean, isn't that cool? I mean, even just using these 2 white round tiles for his eyes. That works incredibly well at recreating the eyes on his screen-accurate face. And the best thing about this as well, if you like this, you can actually purchase instructions for this. I'll have a link below, so go and check that out, and check out everything else that's in the description as well. Clicking on those links will get you even more inspiration, and you can see more from the builders that I spoke about today. Yeah, I don't know, man, there's something really gratifying and super impressive about seeing a gigantic, colossal creation like this. Man, I don't know, I still think this set is phenomenal. So what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.